Dreams, the missing text. What are they? Why do we have them? And how what we do in them determines waking 3D life experience, by R.E. Stone. Chapter 9. Dark Entities, and What to Do with Them. In the realm of dark entities, the most pressing question I am asked by those who encounter them are, what are they, and what do I do with them? Dark entities can be a variety of things. Most of the time, they have come to the Dreamwalker to be healed, and because the Dreamwalker is able to access the light, which the dark entity is so drawn to them for. There's more than enough love and light for everyone that comes from the ever-abundant stores of the universe. Love. In all situations, the dark entity has come because the Dreamwalker is able to access the specific love energies the dark entity so desperately needs and cannot access by themselves. Energetically, they are trapped. Dark entities usually ask for this assistance in very dysfunctional ways, like trying to kill or harm the Dreamwalker. But nonetheless, the Dreamwalker, rooted in love, has the power, and it is the conscious Dreamwalker's responsibility to love and heal the being. The dark entity has chosen the Dreamwalker because they hold the magic tool in their unique set of personal abilities, life experiences, that can help the dark entity get exactly what they need in love and light from source energy. Dark entities do not come to the Dreamwalker otherwise, because love is always stronger than hatred or fear. The Dreamwalker never need be afraid. They have everything they need within themselves. And odds are very good the dark entity is a soul the Dreamwalker knows and loves in waking 3D life. The dark entity could be the Dreamwalker's mother, father, grandparent, uncle, sister, nephew, ex-partner, past life lover, a cousin, best friend, or a new acquaintance. Whomever the dark entity is to the Dreamwalker in waking 3D life, they need the Dreamwalker's love and assistance to be freed. Dark Entity, Dream Experiences. The first dark entity stories I share are from direct dream experiences I've had, and where I am teaching others in dreams about dark entities. I describe what they actually are and give simple and basic understandings of their basis. In 2017, I began gingerly sharing a handful of my dream stories publicly with my secret Facebook group. Then, as I got more confident, I began to share more publicly on my Facebook feed, ari.stone.750, by posting links to my public dream blog feed, aristoneart.blogspot.com. And more recently, I began to also post dreams on my website blog of aristoneart.com/blog. During 2017, I was developing my self-trust and self-belief that I was actually seeing and doing things in both astral and dream realms that literally affected waking 3D life, W3DL. Since I began my dream awakening journey around 2015, I have now seen and understood hundreds of dream connections, and because of this, I am fairly comfortable and confident in sharing my knowledge and awareness personally gained about dreams through my first-hand dreamed awaking 3D life experiences and observations. This is the time for all of humanity to reclaim their God-given rights, innate powers, and abilities, and to rise up into greater spaces of love. This rising up is simply the sharing of the light with the dark entities, no fighting. The results of sharing the light brings about all the changes we so desperately desire, seek, and need in waking 3D life. This is what truly unifies the world and the timelines, love and the sharing of that love. Dark Entity Stories. The first dream story I'll share is from a post in my secret Facebook group shared December 12th of 2017. In the dream, I was working with a somewhat known Waking 3D Life astral instructor. I was helping him learn, along with the students, loving ways to access real light magic and how to step into the next level of skills they all were seeking, that were not based in fighting. Remember, what is done in dreams matters. For this book, I am adding an additional dream sequence that occurred prior the astral class dream sequence. I am sure some reading this book will have also had some type of poltergeist experience, either in waking 3D life, astral, or dream realms. Secret Facebook group post by R.E. Stone, December 12th, 2017. Hi everyone. Briefly, I have had some truly amazing dream experiences, and while I will share some here for learning purposes, my ultimate intent is to reveal what is possible and for each of you to achieve these victories in your own dream states. Please ask me any questions you may have. While I have labeled this as a class, this is new for me, and each one of you will be helping me to format the course direction through your questions. Largely, this will be highly intuitive and we'll just flow where we need to, and lessons will also come as they are needed. Lesson 1. Laying the foundation for future work. Working with dark entities. What are they, and what do you do with them? Currently, the most common thing I am asked about are dark entities of various natures, and what does one do with them? First of all, dark entities are not what everyone might think, which is stereotypically something or someone that is bad and are to be eliminated. This is the first misnomer that has to be corrected. I never approach any situation with the intention of harming, knifing, slicing, or cutting of anything or anyone in dream realms or in waking 3D life. To do those things will not change the situation unless they are performed from pure spaces of love, which is likened to what Magenta Pixie calls neutrality. I won't go into that aspect here, as it is seldom used and is only reserved for the most darkest of entities or highly specific situations, and is still also performed from spaces of neutrality, love. The reason why knifing, slicing, and fighting basically doesn't work is because typically the person performing them is operating on the same or similar type of frequency as the being coming at them. Therefore, the combatant will likely see little to no result with their attempts, or mayhap a temporary victory, and then the being will attack again later. To truly dispel dark, or rather more aptly named fear-based entities, or less light-dense entities, a being, you, must operate from spaces of love and honesty. The more honest and truthful one is with themselves, and the deeper their connection to love, source, is, the more powerful they are. Now let's delve into one of my astral dream examples. Names have been changed to protect the privacy of the souls I am working with in soul spirit realms. The following is only one dream sequence of 4 that I had this night, and I shortened it up some. My mother told me over the years, "I think you live another life with your long, drawn-out and detailed dreams." Turns out, she was right. 2017, November 5th, Poltergeist Dresser. Added in dream sequence for this book. I found myself in bed with my current red and black bedspread in a bedroom about half like my current bedroom. I saw a picture image that seemed to be 2 very high-quality pencil sketches that I had drawn in a black and white spiral-bind artist's sketchbook. Only, it was a sketchbook I was yet to own, and images I was to draw in the future. I began thinking I have to wake up and draw this as best I can. I thought I woke up, and that I went and brought a new dream journal back to bed. Then I decided to get a different journal and went back over to my bookshelves. I did this 4 times. Each time I grabbed a new journal and took it back to my bed. My bed was now covered with 7 to 10 other journals that I'd already written in. I was getting very flustered, thinking myself awake and needing to draw this image I'd drawn in the future of a phone cash register looking sketch with a plastic white bottle in it that looked sort of like a PVA book glue tube without a plastic label. Finally, I said, come on! I just brought back 4 new journals. How could I not even have 1? I got up again and went over to the tall stand-up dresser armoire a few feet beyond the foot of my bed that reminded me of one I had when I was a kid. It had my current makeup mirror sitting on top of it with the lights turned on. I opened the clear plexiglass-style makeup mirror doors, and inside I saw what also looked like fans or vents for fans that were blowing air out and down in an L shape, down toward the dresser top. I closed the flaps, finding that odd. Even with the doors closed, it continued to blow air out the vent like a small AC unit. I went back to my bed and finally found my journal to write in, but then fell asleep. I woke up shortly thereafter and looked around the room and said, "What the?" Strange things had occurred while I was asleep. I thought, what happened here? Things had been moved around. Then a young man looking like Ravi from the Jessie TV series came into the bedroom. He was in a mild state of worry-fear about poltergeists and the like. Then he walked out the back door. On the wall, the head of my bed was set against. There were 3 windows above my bed headboard that ran the length of the wall. Something strange had occurred with the dresser. I felt, did I do that in my sleep? Then I felt, no. I realized it may have been Ravi's fear thoughts and worries that had done it. I briefly worried and thought to be fearful myself, but then decided there was no use in that. Instead, I spoke to the tall dresser as though it was a cursed person from Beauty and the Beast trapped in a dresser form, and I told it to just stay where it was for now until I resolved what or who had done this. It may have been my parents as well. Both the upper swing-out cupboard doors of the armoire dresser were wide open now, and the 2 drawers below it were pulled open with a mix of my clean and dry laundry partway in and out the drawers, as well as all over the floor. From somewhere, I grabbed 2 very odd balls of clay or Play-Doh that was a bit slimy, like Nickelodeon Gack, but I didn't mind. One ball was a bright red-orange color, but more red. The other ball was a bright, deep shade of purple or blue. I then took the balls back over to my bed area and began to use them to write on the walls, like it was a secret message, red rum style, to someone. The dresser? Someone else. To whomever occupied my room later once I left? I didn't know. It was about something. Perhaps a message where to find me after, written in purple or blue drippy paint on the wall, and followed with something about secret bases, written in red drippy paint on the wall, and where to find me if anything happened to me. That's where I was at. Dimension hopping? These clay-like slime balls wrote thick, were sized like a large bouncy ball, and wrote as if a drippy, liquid, semi-squishy paintball. Ravi came back into my room through the back door and was asking me something, but I was very focused on writing the message on the wall, so he decided he'd come back later when I was able to listen and willing to talk. Ravi was on a time-sensitive mission of his own, maybe to find his grandmother. That's when I transitioned into the astral class. November 5th, 2017, astral class. I was in a small classroom with around 8 to 9 students, and the instructor, Alvin, who was a fairly well-known astral instructor. I had on my gray hoodie sweatshirt and wore the hood up and over my head in the same fashion as I'd worn it to bed. The students sat in a loose circle. I stood mostly alone and across from them and the teacher, with one student somewhere a short distance behind me. A student began telling the class about his astral story and how he beat his dream enemy with a sword by going all commando style on the enemy, and he'd knifed and sliced the enemy up into death. I was like, good grief, Charlie Brown, you have got to be kidding me. The instructor, Alvin, began to look at me with a twinkle in his eye and semi-sideways to see if I actually knew a better way, or if I was just a lot of talk and nothing but a windbag. The late teenage boy continued to talk. I was now raising my hand like Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, eagerly indicating with my arms and body, ooh, me, I know the answer. I was barely able to contain myself and almost began talking over the boy and had to stop myself to be polite. The boy continued to talk and presented himself like he was Arthur with his slasher story. I again almost talked over him. I was not impressed by his story, and the teacher was bemused by this. Finally, the boy finished, and all eyes were on me. I felt a little nervous, but not as self-conscious or as nervous as I thought I would be. I was extremely knowledgeable, very well versed with the materials, and greatly enjoyed talking about them. I was also extremely excited to be teaching them now. My nerves did get the better of me for a little bit, and I had a very hard time saying my words because I was so excited. I was trying to say everything in one breath and got out, love is the solution, no fighting. No matter what it is that is seen in the dream or astral realms, regardless to if it's a 10-foot-tall reptilian, dinosaur, T-Rex, or a small centipede, love is the answer, and that seldom ever means killing. I made myself slow down now and take some deep breaths between my sentences. I noted my breath glowed a soft blue color. It was very pretty, but not visible to the naked eye, lower densities. I continued, no, it actually means never killing anything. I went on to explain that sometimes transmutation can appear as killing, but you never truly kill anything. You simply transmute it into something different, better. I was finally speaking more normally with my full-bodied voice. Another student in the class also had a hoodie sweatshirt. only his was hanging on the doorknob in the room. He was also in his late teens to early 20s, like the rest of the students in the classroom, which were mostly all male. The boy with the hoodie began to ask me a question about some hoodie legend. I knew exactly what he was going to ask me, and the answer too, but had to stop myself again from speaking over the top of him. I knew he was in energetic spaces where his mind still needed to hear himself verbally ask the question, so I controlled my excitement. He continued to speak about the legend regarding wearing a hoodie over your head that was endued with a magic protection spell in order to remain safe. I thought he was finished talking and almost spoke over the top of him again and apologized for my mistake. He finished by asking if he needed to wear a hoodie over his head with a protection spell on it in order to protect his head from having a spell cast on it and to remain safe. I noted he seemed to believe he had to have this magic artifact, a spell-cast hoodie, to protect his head. I waited a few moments more to ensure he really was done speaking, and he was. I stood now at what became the front of the classroom, and as if I was speaking in front of hundreds of people, I was now more so the teacher than Alvin. Alvin was looking at me too for answers, while also being careful not to reveal his hand to the students, that he didn't know all the things I did. I began to tell them again, love is the answer. Every choice and every decision that you make in dream realms, love is the answer. I proceeded to tell them it is because of love I can manifest things with my hands. That energy is love. And to manifest it, you have to attract it and thereby ultimately be that. The more love you have, the more energy you attract. I then directed their attention to the boy's hoodie on the doorknob and told the class, it's not the hoodie that matters. It's the belief about the hoodie that mattered. And that the hoodie only worked because the boy believed in it, the hoodie as protection, and believed that the hoodie worked because of what someone else did to it, a spell. It was not because the hoodie was magic. It was the belief thought spell that had been put on the hoodie. That was what mattered. If the boy believed he needed a hoodie from some dark controlling wizard who imbued the hoodie with his thought spell to be safe, then that's what the boy would need to be protected. If the boy only believed the wizard could cast a spell of protection on it and that he couldn't, then that would be true for him. However, I continued teaching the class, if I used that hoodie, it wouldn't work for me because I don't believe in or trust the wizard who placed a spell on it. So to me, it'd be completely useless. I'd be more concerned to do more damage and harm than good because it's also dependent on the wizard's thoughts, feelings, and energies. He feels a little too dark and drama controlling for my taste. I then told the hoodie boy that he had all of those magical capabilities inside of himself. He didn't need to go to some wizard or have some hoodie. He was the magic. All he had to do was believe. I thought of the Bible's faith of a mustard seed story and how if you have faith like a grain of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. This was like that. If he believed the hoodie was necessary, then it would be. If he believed he had it all inside of himself, like me, then he too could do as I do and manifest light and protection from within himself and into his hands. To demonstrate, I then manifested a purple light sphere in the palm of my hand and told him I could place that around my head if needed for protection, or around his head. If he wanted his whole body protected from attack, we could simply expand the one sphere to include all of him or add a second sphere. I continued the demonstration and placed the purple sphere around my head and wondered if the students could actually see it too. I then stated again, it doesn't matter what size or scale the bad guy is. You can and will always have plenty of light because you are pulling from the energy stores of the universe. The bigger the enemy appears might quite possibly be a visual expression of just how much more light they need. So give it to them. If you have the capabilities to connect to the energy stores of the universe and they don't, they are coming to you for help. Heal them by sharing and giving to them of the light so they too can heal and change and grow and move forward. If any being comes to you at any time, it is meant to be there, and you have to ask yourself why and how can you help them with the unique set of abilities and talents you possess. Because I assure you, they come to you specifically because you have the special and select ability to help them. They may even turn into actually being your kind, sweet grandmother who'd been stuck or trapped in that lower density form, or rather thought vibration pattern, a lattice. I concluded with, "This is why we never kill and we always heal. You never know who that really is unless you are in tune with that, until you stop the panic response and send love and healing to the thought forms trapped and or stuck around that being. Once you do that, you can see who really is underneath it all and can then start to form, build, and grow a real relationship with them if you both still want and choose to do so." The students all seemed to be getting it and still had as of yet a long ways to go, but they were definitely on track to learning it. Alvin was very pleased by all of this and had a twinkle glint of hope in his eyes and a smile on his lips. He was relieved and glad I was there to help the rest of these students. He'd come to the ends of his knowledge stores and was now letting it look like I was a long-term guest speaker. I didn't mind, because that relieved me from the pressure of being the teacher. This new arrangement would work out fine for both of us until it was time to shift into the next phase. This is the key foundation for all the transmutation work I will be teaching each of you. Sweet dreams, and may you all manifest beautiful rainbow spheres of love and light for healing and transformation. Types of dark entities. Some of the different types of dark entities I have worked with and healed in dream realms over the years include artificial intelligence entities, some that have taken over a form and have come to kill me, Nephilim that have taken over a form to kill a friend, bad witches flying to get me, to kill me, and very recently with my legal situation, an extremely top-level dark entity that is rarely seen in waking 3D life, and yup, to kill me. What was highly amusing about this particular dream sequence was that all the giving of the light with my friends was like a musical sequence straight out of the movie Grease or something, and like an alternate love-based end scene for Harry Potter, where instead of everyone fighting and killing, we were all singing, dancing, and giving love in the form of light to the darker beings. First to the lower level darker entities, then their levels would join us and help us with love infusions of the next level of dark entities above them, and so on and so forth. It was beautiful and highly entertaining. I shared that dream experience here. You can visit website aristoneart.blogspot.com or aristoneart.com/blog. Of the AIs I've seen in dreams and a Nephilim that took over the consciousness of someone else's body, they targeted young souls incarnate in human forms because young souls are easier to trick out of their bodies with vices such as social acceptance, drugs, lust, fame, greed, etc. Once in the host form, the controlling entity energy then pushes back the original body host owner's soul to the back recesses of the mind, or tries to push them out altogether. The ones I dealt with still had a small portion of the original soul intact inside, but very scant, even as little as 1 to 3%. With help, the original host soul can be regenerated, and the physical form can also survive with love and nurturing. In other dreams, I have had black rabid dogs or jackals with sharp pointy teeth come after me, yup, to kill me, and shadow people, of course, trying to scare or kill me. I've also dropped into the likely underworld to reclaim back my own shadow self in love. Below is the post of those dream experiences as shared with my Facebook group. This post can be found on my aristoneart.blogspot.com or aristoneart.com/blog. Here is one of my shadow people dreams. In this one, I received back in love my own shadow self. This is what will ultimately heal the timelines and bring true unity. This is largely a raw, verbatim typing of the original dream, so it may not be as well written as it could be, but it gets the experience across, and I never worry about any technical writing as I document my dreams. Another note about dreams, even seeming mistakes can lead to a connection with another dream, so just write and let it flow out of you. Receiving back into myself, in love, my shadow self, February 4th, 2014. Dream, receiving back in love dark aspects of myself. I dreamed I'd taken a poison white piece of paper of my own accord. I died. Then I went into a place and found parts of myself that I needed to love and accept back into myself. I found my shadow self and I said, I love you and thank you for what you have done to protect me, and I receive you back into myself as a whole and part of myself. My shadow self said it had done things to protect me and other things, and I said, I know. I love you and receive you back. There were other aspects of myself. One may have been the murderous aspect. I found it, loved it, and received it back as a healed and whole part to myself. along with the third failed aspect to myself. I'd said before the white tablet square paper melted in my mouth that if I was meant to stay alive, Ariel, help me. I felt some regret, but I needed to do it as it seemed the only way to go to find and be able to accept those other aspects back into myself from within the other realms. I was determined to face them and love them and receive them back into myself. No more running away in fear. I'd done it. I did it. 6:03 a.m. More dark entity dreams and transmutations. In other dreams, to help family and loved ones by adding more light to less light-dense energies manifesting as dark entities, I have taken into my own body form their negative energies. In one, I took into myself a more Goa'uld-style worm snake-like energy. In another dream, the dark energy inside a friend was called out by a pastor type who didn't really know what he was doing. It was a very golem-style energy. As a result, my friend in the dream began acting all my precious style, like the Lord of the Rings golem character. In these instances, I chose to directly take into my own form the darker energies to love, transform, and heal them. In the golem dream sequence, I added the maximum amount of light the dark energy could handle. Then I returned the cleansed with love energies back to their host owner. See Appendix F, Lotus Golem. I've also dealt with other beings, such as one that felt to be the head mafia guy and who knew better than to try to kill me because he saw me put another government CIA-like guy, his buddy, into a headlock, who of course tried first to shoot me to kill me. See Appendix G, Rainbow Spheres. I've also dealt with monster-sized snakes 100 feet long with heads around 3 to 5 foot in diameter, and smaller snakes as well. I've also worked with adding light to the more average bullies, who of course, threaten to or try to kill me. I love them all and show them better ways of being. In some instances, I will start to show the less light-dense being what kinds of magical things that are possible when living in the ways of love, like manifesting rainbow spheres of light from my palms. In other instances, I simply give the dark entity the light they so desperately need. Some of these beings will need to go off and process, integrate, for a while the love and light energies given to them. In other instances, the dark entity aspect can integrate the light fairly fast. It really depends on the being and where they are at in their development and what they are ready for. After all healing light dreams, it may be necessary for the dreamwalker to follow up in waking 3D life with some type of physical action to support the work done in the dream realms. This may range from having a conversation with the person from the dream to looking to find the news expression in waking 3D life of what's been done. A news expression may include something like seeing a disaster averted or changed completely and miraculously. Everyone existing at this time is meant to be here and work together as a team to bring love, light, and healing to this experience. Those of us who consciously do the more soul-spirit dream realm work often go unrecognized because the work is largely performed behind the scenes. But everything dreamwalkers do supports those seen on the Waking 3D Life stage in some capacity or another. I thank each and every one of my fellow conscious dreamwalkers for everything they do, continue to do, and will do that supports humanity in love and light. Thank you. Expression of energy. I believe the most important thing to remember about any dark entity appearance is that they are simply the expression of an energy, and therefore they can always be changed with expressions of light energy. Sometimes the expressions of energy or actions seen in dreams are literal, and other times they are more an energetic signature of something that won't necessarily be expressed exactly in waking 3D life, lattices. In all instances, the dreamwalker has the right to say no to whatever it is that they don't want done to them, and yes to whatever they do want done. I believe the focus on the yes and do want is more important than the don't want. But knowing what one does not want can reveal to the dreamwalker what they do want. Then the dreamwalker is to focus on the do want and release the don't wants. Each dreamwalker must answer the do wants for themselves. The best way to find what one really wants is to explore potential choices and look at how one feels about one choice in comparison to another. The one that makes the dreamwalker smile from the inside to the outside is the choice that needs to be made, as it comes from heart, and heart, love, is where all real magic resides. Sometimes dream experiences help the dreamwalker realize more of what they do and don't want as well. A dreamwalker may become more consciously aware that they want more peace in their life when a dark entity shows up trying to steal that. This is great because now the dreamwalker knows they want peace. From there, all they need to do is focus on the feeling of peace in their heart and allow whatever version of light energy expression to come forth in their dream realms to trickle down to healing their waking 3D life density and lattices. That's it. It's that simple. No magic spells or magic spell cast hoodies required. If a dreamwalker finds it hard to focus on what they do want, that's okay. Keep trying. Knowing what one doesn't want is a great start because ultimately it'll prod the dreamwalker to figure out what they do want. If the dreamwalker only knows they don't want the dark entity to bother them or energy feed off of them, they simply need to step into spaces of their heart, passion, and tell the dark entity directly, firmly, and with strong intention, I do not give you permission to do such and such, and you are to leave immediately. The entity must obey because apparently there is some seemingly cosmic rule that even I have observed where they must ask permission first of the other being's soul to feed off of them. However, there are some feelings people have that may unwittingly give the dark entity permission to feed off of their energies, to include guilt, shame, hatred, anger, etc. When a dreamwalker is aware of what they do want, such as feelings of peace or love, they can then option to command the darker entity to enter into a ball of light they manifest from the palm of their hands for healing and transformation of the dark entity. When standing in spaces of love, this light may be readily manifested from the dreamwalker's hands, and is love energy pulled from the ever-abundant stores of the universe. This light, shared, does not typically come from within the dreamwalker's personal energy makeup. I repeat, the light shared does not typically come from within the dreamwalker's own personal energy makeup. This is a very important key to understanding proper sharing of the light. In most every instance, the dreamwalker will never give away their own light because that is most often feeding the dark entity in negative ways and gives them permission to eat the dreamwalker. I have had only a few very rare instances where I have given of my own personal light energy makeup. One of those times was to give healing light to Mama Earth because she was in such a depleted and desperate state at the time that I optioned to do so. After I gave of my own energy stores, I found myself drained to where I sort of collapsed to the floor, totally exhausted and spent. But I felt wonderful at the same time because of the healing taking place in Mama Earth, and my twin flame was there supporting and protecting me. In short, in most every dark entity light infusion healing instance, the dreamwalker will always, always, always pull from the ever-abundant stores of the universe, and that connection is always open, ready, and available for access inside each and every being, heart, love. Even if the dreamwalker has a pacemaker, artificial heart, or some weird and unusual situation where they have no heart but are still alive and thriving, they still have everything they need to be a successful healer of the dark energies. It's not about having a physical heart. It's about the energetic spaces of love that are always present to access magic. Love expression surprise. There are many times in my dreams I am very surprised by what I do, especially since I often have no idea or plan of any kind of what or how I will heal the dark entity in dream realms, even up until the very second I do it. But what I always do know is exactly what I want. I want love. I want peace. So I make sure I resonate with those feelings, and the expression then occurs much of its own accord. See Appendix F, Lotus Golem. Speaking another language. Any time in dream realms when I am speaking my ancient or sacred language, it's not about the words. It's about the heart connection, and the words come out to express my heart. I like speaking in other languages in dreams because it actually removes the logic from my mind and allows me to connect more fully with my heart essence. Basically, I just speak in gibberish and connect with a language, sound vibration, essence, and not technical words. However, in a dream, I still understand what I am saying, even though I'm not speaking or saying things in any language I logically know. This keeps my logical mind from interfering with any preconceived perceptions or concepts I may have logically attached to the words, and freeing myself from the logic of my mind I can call forth the energy and power of sound to aid me in any of my magic processes, which are all expressions of love-rooted energy. Real dreamwalkers don't need to say any special words, attend any expensive spiritual events, or perform any rituals. All they need to do is focus on love-rooted energies, and the rest will just magically happen. Heart energy, love, will handle all the hows, and the dreamwalker's consciousness gets to go along for the ride and see what the expression of love and light energy will be. It's a blast seeing what occurs in dream realms when not trying to control anything and simply allowing whatever it is that needs to flow out to do so in love. It will be exciting to hear of the great, magical, wonderful, and amazing new light story adventure and experiences dreamwalkers everywhere will start having and sharing after reading this book. That kind of thing makes me smile from the inside to the outside, so I know I'm on track for my optimal destiny path. Less light-dense experiences in comparison to more light-dense experiences. In the less light-dense experiences, and sometimes that means a more astral-based experience, I tend to not see or feel the more light-dense energies I utilize. But regardless of the density or feelings, so long as I maintain my love-based focus, I still see the results and effects of love upon the visiting soul receiving love-based energies given. The visiting soul always actively responds. In one of my more harrowing situations where my magic was performed in a less light-dense experience, I could not see the cocoon of light I energy wrapped the visiting soul with, but I did visualize and see it fully in my mind's eye, and the results were the same in the dream setting, even though I didn't feel it or see it like I ordinarily do, and was even scared some of the time. In that dream, I just had to have faith that what I did was so. And by extension, it was so, because the energies were still intentionally created and manifested in all the densities. The results were palpable, because my intention was the same: love, joy, peace. See Appendix H, Landon Soul Cleanse. After this dream, this person stopped trying to energy eat me in waking 3D life, and finally began to fully respect my nose in waking 3D life. In this instance, my work was done upon waking. I didn't need to do anything further in waking 3D life, other than know what had occurred and document it. So, dreamwalkers needn't worry if they don't feel it so much in dream realms, or if they are scared of what is occurring in the dream. With honorable intentions and solid focus on love and healing, the energies will comply with the desire and fix, heal, and change things. Dark energy expressions. As can be seen, I have dealt with many expressions of dark energy in situations where I see another being has taken over someone else's body and thereby the consciousness of the form. I view this kind of situation at its core to just be a darker, less light-dense expression of energy, and all energy can be healed. The labeling of the dark energy as cabal, AI, reptilian, robot, Nazi, mafia, CIA, etc. It doesn't really matter to me as anything beyond being able to group a behavior type pattern typically associated with the energy name label, and to identify the soul in waking 3D life. These kinds of darker energy behavior pattern expressions, seen as the person being taken over in dream realms by another entity, typically translate into meaning the soul is out of harmony with their total self and thereby their deepest desires. Contrary souls tend to have permitted disparate desires, thoughts, ideas, and views to direct their conscious physical life choices, false lattices, rather than love and light. As a direct result, these disparate souls often behave contrary in waking 3D life to what their soul spirit, total self, may have expressed directly with the dreamwalker in dream realms. Disparate souls. Disparate souls are likely to require from the dreamwalker significant amounts of love, light, time, attention, and patience to heal them fully and properly in waking 3D life. They're often very trapped within their minds and likely multiple false lattices, usually based in fear, hatred, and anger. When I see someone in a dream who is taken over by an AI, artificial intelligence, entity, Nephilim, shadow people, or any other expression of dark energy, the person in waking 3D life will continue to look like themselves, but for the purposes of understanding dark, less light-dense energy, that person is not really themselves, and will likely need significant help in waking 3D life from a conscious and aware dreamwalker who may need to consistently and knowingly make and create love-based spaces, lattices, for the disparate waking 3D life, the physical, aspect of the soul to step into. It is my belief that in dream realms, soul spirits speak their truest heart desires with one another and what they truly want in waking 3D life. I have found souls in harmony with their total self tend to act congruently to what is seen in dream realms and waking 3D life. The conscious self in parity with its total self will act, do, and say things fairly similar to what is seen and expressed in the dream realms with the dreamwalker. However, disparate souls require a lot of work, and if not fully prepared for all of their likely shady tactics in waking 3D life, a dreamwalker could wind up feeling very hurt. All dreamwalkers should only engage physically with these types if they feel their inner heart nudging and guiding them to do so, and if they are fully cognizant that they give only what they are comfortable giving and will not be angered later if the soul they give to does not act how they want. True giving gives without expectation. The dreamwalker who gives with unconditional love knows what their own healthy boundaries are and stops at those boundaries. To go beyond one's own personal boundaries usually means feeling angry, hurt, or some other negative and usually undesired feelings. I never need a disparate soul to be anything different than who they are in waking 3D life, even when I completely disagree with their waking 3D life choices. I continue to respect them, and I establish my boundaries with them. In this fashion, I meet all my own needs and essentially require nothing from the disparate soul. Unconditional love continues to give to other souls within the context of personal and healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries free everyone because they eliminate the need to energy feed off of another. Magic and dark entities. When I have used magic to handle less light-dense entities with love and light in the soul-spirit realms, where I see dreams as 5D, astral as 4D, or otherwise, I also magically know what to do in waking 3D life upon waking as well. Some situations in waking 3D life, compared to what's been seen in dreams, may look bleak, but I don't worry about that. I always know what I'm supposed to do, and that is to continue to infuse love into the situation in any density. I also continue to create spaces, lattices, of love for the other soul to step into new spaces that allow them to be more love-based. The other soul is always free to choose as they feel in waking 3D life. The dreamwalker's role is to continue to do their part to encourage the disparate soul into more love-based choices in both dream realms and waking 3D life experiences, where appropriate. The responsibility is simply to keep loving oneself and others. That's it. Where it flows out from there is just that, where it flows. Heart-soul talks. In dream and astral realms, dreamwalkers regularly speak with the heart-soul total self portion of those embodied in waking 3D life. With very dark entities, it takes work and time to heal them fully, as often they are very disconnected from their total self. Being patient is essential, along with being detached from their negative energy-feeding emotions, while remaining attached to all the wonderful love-based experiences the dreamwalker may have with the visiting disparate soul in dream realms. It's important to recognize that even though the less light-dense being may be very dysfunctional in waking 3D life, often a narcissistic personality expression, they still have to actively behave in ways of love and light to interact with the dreamwalker on the more love-based frequencies. The biggest key to remember with dark entity dealing, which is really just an energetic personality expression in my humble opinion, is to not throw the proverbial baby out with the bathwater and to recognize the baby is dirty. Just like a real baby, the less light-dense being often cannot clean, feed, or take care of themselves and needs the loving, compassionate nurture of the dreamwalker, who may be equivalent to a parent for them. Less light-dense beings will also sometimes kick, scream, yell, cry, and do any other number of things to demand the things they want and need, including the very poopy diaper change. These basic essentials of self-care that an adult, conscious dreamwalker can perform for themselves daily are things the dark entity cannot do without help. With the proper love, care, and nurturing, dark entity energy can outgrow the baby stages of life too, and get into their terrible twos. And then with guidance, boundaries established, and healthy supervision, they can outgrow those stages as well, and so on and so forth. I think of dark entities as unruly children needing guidance from a loving and detached super nanny in dream realms. In waking 3D life, especially if they are an adult, they will likely require more staunch methods, even the law. And I apply more Kim and Steve Cooper's methods when dealing with more highly developed dysfunctional false grid lattice behaviors. See my reference sections. Unconditional love allows everyone the freedom to be who they are and does not get angry, remains patient, and continues to choose the ways that fill the dreamwalker with love, so much so that love spills over and needs to be shared with others. I loved, pun intended, reading Byron Katie's book, Loving What Is, and I highly recommend it. She helped me learn how to experience love more fully in my waking 3D life, and by extension brought me ways to discover more light, love, magic in my dreams. The more the dreamwalker learns and chooses to love all that is, the more magic the dreamwalker is. Patience is a virtue. How does a dreamwalker handle a long, ongoing dark entity situation with a waking 3D life soul? It's handled with patience and continued and repeated sharing of love and light with the dark entity soul in dream realms, along with following through in waking 3D life for as long as it takes. The dreamwalker will know if their role is complete by feeling done or not done with the matter and energies. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lao Tzu. Love is great strength. Loving a less light-dense being definitely doesn't mean being a pushover or even turning the other cheek. It actually means standing up for oneself in the face of adversity and healing both oneself and the other soul with love and light. This requires a great deal of courage, self-control, and inner strength. It's much easier to get angry about something, especially when the other person does things obviously shady. But it takes great strength and self-control to stand incredibly strong in spaces of love and saying no or yes to what one does or doesn't want, especially if the other soul is someone who is threatening to take one's life in dream realms or otherwise do harm. The dreamwalker simply needs to give the darker energy expression of the visiting soul the light of love when they come with their dark intentions, because that's what they really want anyways, more light and love. In dreams, even the most vile, big, bad, and scary being will soften and become gentle because they want so desperately to experience the love and light the dreamwalker possesses, joy. In many instances, the only way they know how to ask for it is through abuse. When the dreamwalker recognizes this and shares love, light, with the dark energy expression, the less light-dense being will melt, be kind, and want that more than anything. A simple method I have found to give love and light is through giving hugs in my dreams. When I am hugging the other being, I focus to expand my light energy to include them, such as enhancing my aura 100-fold and envisioning it wrapping around us both like a safe and loving protective cocoon. When I infuse them directly with light energy, I pull it from the stores of the universe. In some of those instances, I literally fill their bellies with love and light, so they are no longer hungry and wanting to eat me or others anymore. Whatever light I share is unconditional. I don't care how vile or horrible they've been in waking 3D life. In fact, the ones who have been the worst are the ones needing the light the most. The light shared with them will change their entire miserable world to being beautiful too. I will always offer my loving assistance to them no matter what they have done. Sharing with these types of beings unconditional love and light in dream realms equals to them also treating the dreamwalker with respect in waking 3D life. Even if their waking 3D life dealings are still shady, they are less shady, more mild expressions of bad behaviors, and much more manageable. Sharing the light. There are many ways to share the light, love. Each dreamwalker will likely discover new ways that work for them, in and out of dream realms, and will use those. The expression of light, love, will vary depending on what the entity is. The dreamwalker's feelings about the entity and situation, along with what the dark entity needs and why. In some instances, the most loving thing to do is threaten them. However, this is still always done from love and not anger or fear. For example, I had a gal come to me in a dream, and she was trying to bully move me aside from her girlfriend that I was speaking with. She was jealous, and as a dream expression of that, she was gripping me very hard, so I gripped her back extra hard too, until she winced. I told her to not do that kind of thing anymore, and that I was not gripping her any harder than she was grip-holding me. She got the message and released her grip, and I followed suit. In another dream, I had a guy come up to me that kept on rudely putting his hands on me. So I made his hands go numb from the wrist down in the dream for the next 24 hours, so he could not use them perversely on me or anyone else. In another instance, I have given hugs to dark entities and simply hold them to let them know how loved they are. It's always different and unique to each situation and being, but love is always the core reason and motivation for the expression that flows out of the dreamwalker in dream realms and into waking 3D life. I find if I am angry with the other being in dream realms, my magic can be harder to access. So it's important for dreamwalkers to recognize that anger or hatred can cut them off from accessing real light magic, love, because the frequency is different. Being rooted firmly in love increases magical abilities exponentially. No feeding or stealing energy from others, and is truly exhilarating. Love is why I have such epic dream experiences. Anyone who steps into their heart space and inner wisdom will also tap into all of their own beautiful heart powers and epic dream experiences. With all that I have experienced in over 1,000 documented dreams, there is always more to learn, discover, and explore in love. Because the stores of love are forever abundant, they can be expressed in just as many ways. Like snowflakes, we are all similar but uniquely different in our expression of energy. If you can dream it, you can do it. This was told to me by a spiritual teacher in a dream. When dreamwalkers let heart wisdom soar, magic, they come alive. Paths and souls. Sometimes another soul may only cross paths with the dreamwalker once or twice in a lifetime, needing their help to receive the light. At other times, it can be a long, ongoing process of love, light, and healing, like I'm dealing with now with the soul that has been appearing as my twin flame since as far back as 2006. This particular soul rather consistently makes the opposite choices in waking 3D life to what their total self shows me they really want and need in dream realms. However, as contrary as this person's waking 3D life choices often are, they're still trying their best to access the things they want because they keep coming to me for help. I always give them my assistance and love any time they come to me. This particular soul is not currently in full or proper control of their destiny, but they're trying to be. So I will continue to support them in attaining this desire. In all instances, I stand strong and tall and remain rooted in love in my expression of energy, in both dream realms and waking 3D life. It is, in fact, the other soul's desire for help and assistance that leads them to the conscious dreamwalker in the first place. So it's important to be patient with disparate souls and to know they are doing the best they can with the energies they are laden with. It's also important to have compassion for them and to be firm and resolute in saying no or yes where it is healthy to do so in both dream realms and waking 3D life, choices concerning them. This type of love and healthy boundary setting are very important to the healing of all of humanity. Those of us who are fully awake and aware are to continue to hold spaces of love and light for those still struggling with the dark and trying to step into the light. When love is merged with truth and desire, that's when things manifest into waking 3D life from dream realms. It's okay if it takes time for another soul to fully heal, especially if they have lived in the depths of darkness for a very long time. This may be all they know, so be gentle and strong in helping them. This is where I highly recommend reading Kim and Steve Cooper's book, Back from the Looking Glass, Narcissism Cured Materials. Kim and Steve brought me some more light, magic, as well with what they do and their teachings. From their teachings, I learned to open even more fully into the ways of love while also learning how to maintain healthy boundaries, which equals to being magic light protection in dream realms. Their methods also teach how to be detached in loving ways from those seeking to emotionally control. Sometimes expressing love to heal a dysfunctional soul comes off being very firm in waking 3D life. It may even require legal actions to hold bad-behaved beings accountable in waking 3D life for their hurtful behaviors and choices. The best thing that can be done for these souls is to let them experience the results of their choices and to unconditionally love them. Kim and Steve's book discussing narcissism and codependent behaviors was one of the best books I have read, and it assisted me in reclaiming my magical abilities because waking 3D life, emotional health, heart, and Dreamwalker magic indeed go hand in hand. It's very important that successful Dreamwalkers make time to do the Waking 3D Life emotional healing work. Being powerful in dreams is about being connected to one's most authentic and loving self, emotionally healthy, within the depths of passionate, unconditional love for one's own life and by extension sharing that with others. Dreamwalker magic. Each Dreamwalker has something wonderful, special, unique, and truly amazing to share with the world, and wonderful new expressions of love, magic to bring into existence. My purpose and gift to humanity, as having been awoken by the being who appears as my twin flame, is teaching the foundational truth about dreams, along with creating beautiful art that expresses these love-based energies. These activities bring me great joy and are my passion. Whatever someone is most passionate about, that is their gift and light to share with the world. Harsher expressions of love are necessary sometimes. Sometimes I have found the expression of love does work with some anger, which translates into desire to draw forth the energies. In those dream experiences, the goal is to do one's best to continue to maintain spaces of love and neutrality, energetic detachment, from the energy the dark entity is operating on, the lattices. Anger expressed in love can still be effective. However, anger expressed with hatred or the intent to do harm will be ineffective. As an example of anger expressed in love, in a dream of mine I was very angry with a particular soul group who regularly does things to harm and deceive humanity while claiming the opposite. I was angry with them for their foolishness, and I made a thunderstorm appear. I warned all of the misbehaved souls they were not to persist in their foolishness, or I would manifest even worse things. Let them experience the full consequences of their negative actions if they continued to misbehave, and they were very afraid. This kind of warning was necessary for their souls to get the message I brought. Beings that operate on low or no light lattices try to capture energy by feeding off of others by way of taking instead of sharing and giving. This is where healing emotional issues in waking 3D life is extremely helpful. With healed emotions, the healthy Dreamwalker holds the power and can effectively say no to being abused, emotionally and physically, and say yes to love and life. Sometimes in dream realms, I have found myself emulating the expression of anger, but I don't feel it from a negative perspective, nor do I have any type of emotional attachment to the expression. In short, I don't feel angry, but to the other beings that I am expressing my position to, they might think I am angry because I appear to be so to them. In those instances, I might growl at them, give them warning bites, not break their skin, or otherwise alert them to stop their abusive behaviors towards me or others. I believe this occurs because this is how the other being needs to receive the message. I think of this type of expression of love like speaking their native language and honoring the other being's mode of communication. It's the difference of interacting with a grizzly bear versus a dove. Reptilian race love methods compared to fairy race love methods. For those who believe in the reptilian race, which I do because of my own personal dream experiences, they in fact require and respect harsher expressions of love methods and often more sexually based. This doesn't mean that the Dreamwalker has to have sex with them, unless they want to heal them, but rather the expression of the energy will be more readily received by a more reptilian-based soul if done so in a more sexual way. This can be done simply through a very meaningful hug that may be arousing for the other being. There is nothing wrong with this. The sexual is beautiful when respected and utilized with love and dignity. The Dreamwalker never needs to do anything outside of their comfort zone to heal a visiting reptilian, dark entity, or otherwise disparate soul. Reptilians may require much more forceful and even seemingly abusive love-based methods, which may even include a half-Nelson headlock. This is in fact what they need, especially the darker ones, and they respect, desire, and want someone who is stronger than themselves. Ultimately, they lack self-control and need the awake and aware Dreamwalker to help them implement control. Now contrast this rougher expression of love with dealing with a being from the fairy realm. A fairy would be very hurt and offended by some methods used for reptilians, like a headlock. Fairies are a much more gentle and empathetic race. Fairies don't typically need to be forced into behaving. A simple request for them to adapt or correct something will suffice, as they understand how it feels. They are often very kind and sharing beings who value gentler expressions of energy. In both instances, these two races would likely be highly offended by some of the expressions of love that work incredibly well for the other race. If dreamwalkers try being mushy-gushy with a reptilian-based soul, for the most part, the reptilian won't respect the dreamwalker at all. In fact, the darker ones of the species will think the dreamwalker weak, and therefore ideal food. A reptilian must be shown that the dreamwalker is the boss. Even if the reptilian does not like the dreamwalker, they will respect them. Successful implementation of love magic to heal another being is truly about empathy and respect. One does not need to know logically what the other being needs in dream realms. They just need to focus on sharing love and light from the universal stores. From there, the total self will perform the correct actions required. Reptilian form. In one of my dream experiences, I was placed inside a reptilian form, and I felt almost nothing about anything. The sexual expression was the closest thing I could find even remotely resembling a positive feeling, or any feeling at all for that matter. This is why the more negatively seated reptilians perform so many heinous sexual acts and other types of feedings. They are trying to feel something, anything. In that form, I felt like I was looking through a pinhole with barely any light getting in versus the beautiful and open rushing river of emotions I typically feel in my human form. I was extremely glad to wake up from that experience and feel things again, especially joy. I was also amazed that even 1/3 of the race had chosen to do the right thing, even though for the most part they don't get the wonderful feelings for doing so. But the more positive-based 1/3 were seeking those feelings in more positive ways. Just because the conscious dreamwalker may feel and experience deep emotions, that doesn't mean the visiting being they are helping does. It's important to speak to the visiting being in their language. This is a sign of respect. My mother shared with me information from her other density connections that the reptilian race only had their lower chakras turned on, and that there had been extensive spiritual work done behind the scenes in other realms and densities to turn on their upper chakras, so they too may fully feel love. In the dream where I was in the reptilian form, I wanted my chakras turned on so I could feel things too, but I didn't want them turned on all at once because it would have totally overwhelmed me to feel so much emotion so suddenly. My lower chakras were being turned on in me during the dream, but only the 1 or 2 above the root chakra and to their dimmest light setting, similar to a rheostat to let me acclimate. I think of this experience being like a prisoner kept in a dark cave with almost no light at all for years and years. The prisoner can't just be brought out into the bright daylight of the sun right away because it'll actually hurt their eyes to do so. This is why patience is required when dealing with disparate, less light-dense beings, and also why it may take more time to work with them, even years, or multiple lifetimes. They must first enter into upper cave levels, with slightly brighter light shining in on it. Once they integrate those light frequencies, they can be brought into the next and brighter lit cave rooms, until eventually they can join everyone else on the surface in full broad daylight and experience the totality of love-based emotions. Artificial intelligence, AI, entities, and love. In dreams where I deal with AI-type entities, they are similar in a fashion to the reptilian race from the perspective of emotions, and not really feeling them. However, they are logical, seeking the code of love, whereas with a reptilian, it's about showing who is more powerful. With the AI, it's more about emotional control, like a Vulcan, and to earn their respect, the dreamer must outsmart them. This cannot be done through head knowledge or logical studies because, quite frankly, they are brilliant, like computers, and able to process many logical things all at once. However, what they seek is the experience and expression of heart. They find those who fall prey to anger to be unruly and needing to be controlled, so that's what they often do, seek to control others. But when the dreamwalker enters into spaces of heart and healthy expressions of yes or no's, then the dreamwalker has something the AIs want and need, and thereby earns their respect. Through various dream experiences, I have seen that AI can't see into the future. The reason is because the future is now based on heart and heart love energies, so they are seeking the codes of love too, so they too may see again. The dreamwalker can readily share the code of love with them because it's an energy, just like anything else. See Appendix I, Giving the AI the Code of Love. In the AI dream experience, where I shared the code of love with the female AI entity, I simply held her hands, and the energy message was delivered through our hands. Anything is possible in dreams because everything at its core is energy, love. Love is simply resonating with heart and being in healthy control of one's own emotions. In the dream where I was negotiating with the AI-based expression of energy were not interested in love if they thought it meant they would be unruly or emotionally messy. However, when the Dreamwalker shows them love means having self-control and emotional control, then the AI are very interested. The AI types tend to view the human race largely as being emotionally unruly, yet the AI also want to be free to make silly choices like humans do, silly choices that make no logical sense to the AI because they are heart choices. They want to know what it's like to be free from their programming and to be able to make silly choices too. Some have incarnated into human forms because they want to experience love just like everyone else. This is where showing emotions can be controlled, even when angered, that the Dreamwalker earns the AI's respect, and will then be permitted to share the codes of love with them for those to be integrated with their species. See Appendix J, AI Negotiations, or rastoneart.blogspot.com. With the fundamental foundation of love, healthy boundaries, truth, and desire, I conclude by sharing a couple more dream stories that connect directly together, along with a couple of poems, followed by the appendix with some more dream stories to enjoy. In all successful expressions of magic, love is the answer, no fighting. In laying down the fight, one wins the battle. Thank you for reading, and may your dreams be filled with the ever-abundant magic of the universe. Ari Stone. Dark Entities and Healing Methods. Posted to my Facebook secret group. Laugh Technique. Lesson 1. Handling Shadow People in Love. Posted Monday, December 25th of 2017. From a dream dated June 16th of 2017. In this dream, I wasn't allowed to use my ordinary magic methods. This was done so I would find a method anybody could use to dispel black magic beings, and so I did. On June 16th of 2017, I asked, what does my galactic family of love and light want me to know most right now? In my dream, I was in bed in a hotel room with Annie and her husband, Ted, also in bed next to me. Ted was sleeping on the far right and Annie to my immediate right. As I lay there, I felt etheric relations with my twin flame, and he and I were chatting about things. Annie next to me in bed under the covers said, "You know, you're not supposed to be like that with a married man." I said, "Yeah, I know," and reminded her I didn't ask for this to be the situation once I found him in waking 3D life. And then I reminded her she was married too and also interacting etherically with her twin flame in the same fashion, which was not Ted. Then Annie said to me, "What if he's a demon you're having relations with?" I was like, "What?" I quickly checked myself and then said, "I'm fine and I'm not having intimate relations with a demon. Why would you even say that? That's very mean. Just plain mean, 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 mean. How would you feel if I said that about you and your TF connection?" Annie realized I was right, sort of apologized to me, although I could tell she wasn't fully convinced. Restlessly, I fell back asleep in the bed next to her and dreamed I had a dream. I was looking for my twin flame down by the beach. Then I found him, and he transitioned into being 2 black shadow people persons, and his form disappeared. I looked at the ocean, and the sun went all the way down. It was dark. I tried to use my magic to raise the sun back up, but it didn't work. Then I was on a small rowboat dinghy, about a football field length from shore. 2 black shadow demons were sitting across from me. I tried something at first as they tried to scare me. Then I realized, just laugh. So I started to laugh and pointed at them saying, "Oh my goodness, seriously? You have got to be kidding me." I tried to get them to laugh with me and do something much more fun and exciting than try to scare people like me. Then I said, "You guys are too funny." I was trying to get them to have fun with me instead and to do something different. I continued to laugh and laugh, trying to get them to play with me. They were horrified with their utter failure of attempts to scare me and thoroughly disgusted. They completely left and dropped back into their lower vibration reality before I could do anything else to them. They couldn't leave fast enough. Then I was back in bed with Annie and Ted. I was sweating and waking up within the dream from the dream. Annie awoke and rolled over to me, and I said, Yeah, see now, I just had a dream where I had to deal with them because of what you said. I knew that was going to happen. Please don't ever say stuff like that again, okay? And it's really insulting. Annie realized she was wrong, then rolled back over to sleep. Unable to sleep, I got out of bed and sat on the floor next to the bed and the nightstand and began fishing around inside the drawer. I found what looked like green taffy candy about 2 inches in diameter. It had a whitish see-through wrapper sort of stuck melted onto it, as though already been chewed. I pulled the taffy out, thinking I was going to throw it away, when instead I put it in my mouth and chewed. It was a yummy green apple taffy flavor. Suddenly, realizing only God knows who chewed this thing before, I was like, what the heck am I doing? WTF? Why did I put that back into my mouth? I was now trying to get the block out of my mouth and into a tissue. I got most of it out, just as Annie rolled over into my spot on the bed. I woke her up saying, hey, that's my spot, and I'm still sleeping there. Annie promptly rolled back over into her spot. I then got out my dream journal and got back into bed. Annie woke up and rolled back over to face me. I opened up my dream journal diary and showed her a little picture drawing of another book with a tagline inside it that read, Laugh Section. I was showing her the book that belonged to the Black Demons and what they'd written about their experience with me. They'd made special note in this section of their diary so they would be reminded to never go back there again and to avoid it entirely. To them, the laugh section was extremely scary. These demons seemed to have a government CIA Black Ops type vibe. Annie told me again to be careful so as not to endanger my TF. I replied, of course, I already know that. I love him and we are protected. I felt some fear worry, but I reminded myself it was my job to hold the spaces of pure love and light energies for him to walk into. Annie apologized again and then rolled back over to sleep. Ted was asleep the entire time. I began feeling my TF energetically back on me in bed. Worried, I checked to ensure it was really him and not an imposter trying to take his place. Satisfied it was still him, I empathed to him. I love you. And we shared some more energy, and then I woke up. This next dream, in linear time, I had over 5 years before I had my twin flame shadow people dream. I feel this dream connects and is what I ultimately did with these shadow people. Both dreams had 2 shadow people, and in both dreams I was also looking to find my twin flame. Below is the raw type dream. Transmutation using a ball of light. Friday, November 4th, 2011. 5:30 a.m. dream. Removal of black energies. 2 human-looking beings walked up to me. They were possessed of black energies. Both beings had solid black eyes, like the way my eyes looked with the wrong kind of color contact lenses in. I raised my left hand in the air and said, "Stop," looking them both directly in the eyes. I had no fear. I then waved my hand across both about 2 to 3 feet away and said, "Out now," very firmly. Then I quickly decided in my mind, what do I do with them? Can't just get them out without changing them into something better. They still need a purpose. I may have repeated again, "Get out now," and immediately, really after only the first time, they did it. The black energy came out. The human forms seemed to dissipate or walk away. I then said, "Get into this ball of light." And they did. And be transformed into the light. And they were. I then converted the energies into a tent. The energies felt such strong love there was also sexual tension desire. I then said upon setting the tent down, as it was trying to have sex with me, "If you behave and are good, I may have sex with someone inside you," indicating I first needed to find my twin flame to do that. This calmed the tent, which now loved and had a bond with me, and I walked off. To regularly read my dream journal visions, follow my blog on my website or at blogspot.com, aristoneart.com/blog or aristoneart.blogspot.com. To see regular posts of my art, thoughts, and happenings, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, instagram.com/aristoneart or facebook.com/ari.stone.750. Follow my Facebook feed here to read more of my poetry art, facebook.com/aristoneart. Poem. Review, review, evaluate, review. Review, review, evaluate, review. Review, review. If you only knew what to do, what to do. Review, review. Evaluate too. There, you see? You know what to do. All is true. Review, review. All is within you. Review, review. You know what's true. You know what to do. Now muster your will and trust how you feel. No more laying dormant in the throng. Now it's time. Sing your song. Review, review, evaluate, review. See? You knew what to do. Unfurl now your wings and fly. It's a brand new day, so try. Review, review, evaluate, review. Review, review. You know what's true. Your heart won't lie, for that you must try. Let go of fear and bring desire near. Heart knows what's true. Review, review, evaluate what's new. Review, review, evaluate what's old. Review, review, especially the untold. In that silence is the greatest voice. Review, review, evaluate your choice. Messages here, messages there, patience, time, all will be clear. Review, review, evaluate, review. Review, review, see? You always knew just what to do. Review, review, deep inside the crevice of your soul. Feel that silence, express it, and voila, you're whole. Ari Stone, 3/12/2017.